Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today, we are finishing our discussion of Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver.
Oh, I'm sad.
Book 2.
It's over.
I know. Book 2 of the Ruinous Love Trilogy. We're talking about chapters 23 through the epilogue and the bonus chapter, Strapped. I knew exactly what was happening. Even the first time I read that, I was like, oh.
Have you ever seen that meme with Skeletor from He-Man? And he's like, too bad I like that shit. That was Lachlan the whole time.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Don't put it there.
Oh, Deb, will you please share our nerdiest cocktail?
Yeah, tonight's cocktail is called Put It There. No, I'm kidding. This cocktail is called Industrial Batch Oven, and it's themed after high tension and higher heat. I can tell who wrote this one.
But not the fun kind of heat.
Yeah, exactly. This drink pairs well with Indonesian beaches, large, black, dark, glittery things, and impossible choices. And it may cause you to not notice your friend bleeding out. Is that what's happening to Rose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because one of my questions, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
She got
Literally
shot.
dying.
She got shot.
Yeah.
She shot Abe, but he shot her before.
Yeah.
Does it say that?
Not explicitly, but that's
Okay.
the only explanation
Okay,
for what's happening.
seriously, I took a huge gummy before I read this part. So I was like, what happened? Why is she blacking out right now? But this drink, just so you guys know, does have spicy vodka in it. We recommend Hellfire Vodka by Blonde Brothers. You can
That's good.
order it. We actually went to their distillery in Galena on a girls trip. Actually, the girls trip where we came up with this podcast.
That is
idea.
true. Yes.
It is, yeah.
But this has that vodka in it, mango juice, and Aperol. So we're gonna get fucked up.
It is good.
It is very
Nice
good.
and spicy. I don't know why I said it like that. Nice and
You
spicy.
sound like Stefan from SNL.
Oh, man. We're just going to quickly move on. So now it's time for the Nerdy and Dirty recap, where one of us has 30 seconds to tell you what happened in this section, which was kind of a lot of things. The wheel has spoken.
Yes.
And what did it say?
I'm just going to leave you hanging. No, I'm just kidding. It's Deb.
Ooh, okay.
Again?
I'm actually kind of ready, I think.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll see.
Yeah. On your mark. And away we go.
Lark finds out that Ethel has died and calls Lachlan to meet her at the nursing home. Lachlan and Lark say, I love you to each other. Lark doesn't show up at the nursing home because the asshole Abe has kidnapped her and stabbed her fucking dog. What the literal fuck? Rose is a serious badass and helps Lachlan figure out that Abe has been spying on them across the street and has a serial killer map of where he has taken Lark. Rose also confesses her love for Fionn. Lachlan shows up and Abe makes him choose between saving Lark from burning alive or saving Rowan from a bomb being detonated in his car. Rose saves the motherfucking day. Leather and Lark. Lachlan and Lark go on a honeymoon and Lachlan gets pegged.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Once again, when I gave you the 5-second warning, you're like, wait.
If you watch our YouTube feed, I'm literally like, do you remember in the 90s when they're like, talk to the hand? Like, that's my beauty. I'm like blocking out.
You hold a finger up like, no.
I didn't go over this time though, did I?
No, it was
Okay.
like right exactly 30 seconds.
I would have done better if your 5-second countdown hadn't stressed me out.
Shall we? That was really good. That was
thank you.
that was all the important stuff, really.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Deb.
You're so welcome.
Mindy, will you please share our nerdiest vocabulary?
Yes. This will be our last Irish slang for a little while
Aw.
until we pick up Scythe and Sparrow.
Yeah.
So this week, the one that I found was blimmin, which I had never heard before. And this is when Lachlan calls Leander a blimmin nut job. So, I mean, you could kind of tell what it means, but it's basically a British slang used to express annoyance or for emphasis. So basically another word for feckin', but not considered a swear word.
Huh.
So
I
it's like,
not
prefer
considered a-
fucking.
yeah.
Yeah, not considered a
maybe
swear
like
word, though.
flippin'. Like if,
Oh, okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if that kind of, it's
Like,
not as emphatic.
I'm going to
as-
lose my freaking mind.
Yeah, it's not as emphatic though.
I'm sorry, but the word fuck just has a certain...
Je ne sais quoi.
Thank you. It just really hits the mark.
It's, yeah.
It can be positive or negative too.
Yeah,
It is
sometimes it just is the only thing that'll work for the
Yeah.
situation.
It's the universal word.
It
for
really
everything.
is. For everyone. At all times.
Something can be fucked, but that can mean good or bad.
Right. It can mean all kinds of things. Well, thank you so much, Mindy. Maybe we'll get more Irish slang, and I bet we'll get a lot of circus
I would
slang
love-
in the
I
next
can't wait
book,
to learn
too.
about the
Sparrow?
Yeah, that'll be exciting. We look forward to it. Let's get into the details of this last section of this book and start talking about our favorite moments. What you
Well,
guys?
I'll go first because speaking of pegging, from my recap. So Lark pegs Lachlan in retaliation for serving her divorce papers, and she shreds them up to like fuck him on, which I think is hilarious. In Lachlan's defense, he serves her the papers so that she can have a choice about their marriage, which is really sweet. But she definitely holds a grudge.
Yeah.
But then Lachlan really, 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 really likes it.
Yeah, he's
Like,
totally
a lot.
he's fine with it.
She's like, "What's your color?" And he's like, "Green." Green, 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 green.
Yeah, he was. It harkens back to the scene from what feels like forever ago when they were having lunch with Sloane and Rowan, and they're telling Lachlan like, "No, she's a crazy bitch." Like,
Yeah, 100%.
giving all those examples, like this is
I feel
exactly.
like she held on to it for weeks because
Oh,
like he does
for
it
sure.
and then they
Yeah.
go on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
you know probably was not the next day, and she's
Right.
just like, "Hey, honey, I got to go to the store and get something for the honeymoon."
Yeah.
And like she went and bought a big black glittery dildo to fuck her husband. And here's the thing: it wasn't even like, "Oh no, don't do it." He literally like mic drops his towel, and climbs onto the bed on all fours, and he's like, "Is this okay?"
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, yes, ma'am."
Don't do it.
Don't
No.
threaten me with a good time.
Oh, that's really funny.
That's actually one of my favorite moments as well. It's the whole thing where he gives her the choice of what she wants moving forward. And even though he does it in a way that pisses her off, it's just that that he gave her that choice, that he gave her some sense of control over some things that she's never had control over.
Yeah.
And it's also that he remembers about her desire to go to Indonesia. That was so sweet.
Yeah, he remembered the conversation.
But there were two other really sweet moments that he had that were kind of like my little honorable mention favorites. I love that he gets a gold star tattoo.
Yeah,
Me
me too.
too.
And I love that he buys Bentley a skull squeaky toy. I thought that was so cute.
That's super cute.
Yeah, he loves that dog.
I picture Bentley as being like a bulldog. What do you picture him as?
Well, he's an Akita,
Well,
right?
I picture him as the Akita because
Oh,
I did that
forgot.
deep
You
dive.
did that
Yeah,
whole
They're big
deep dive.
dogs.
they are huge.
when
Yeah.
I don't
first-
know what they look like. I don't know.
When I first read it, I pictured him as like a Yorkie or something like little. But yeah, it's a huge dog.
They remind me a little bit of huskies,
Okay.
but like furrier.
Oh, yeah. Almost like a chow chow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah. We had a chow chow
Cute.
growing up.
It's so cute.
They are very cute.
Well, those were not my favorite moments at all.
What was yours?
Well, this is actually kind of a combo because on one side it's my favorite moment, but at the same time it's my least favorite moment. So the favorite moment part is right after Rose and Lachlan, but really Rose, save Lark from the oven. And
yeah,
Lachlan,
Lachlan didn't do shit. for
yeah,
the
no,
record.
he was just like, no, that was pretty much all he did.
He's the bounty commercial.
Yeah. Lachlan tells her to not ever make him choose someone over her again and tells her, "You're my person, Lark. I can't do this without you." And I thought that was really sweet because really that's it. They told each other that they love each other over the phone, but this is the first time that face to face they have been like very open and vulnerable and like honest with each other about how they feel about each other. And I thought that was really, really sweet. But at the same time, it's my least favorite moment because while they're making goo-goo eyes at each other, Rose is like, "I will die happy knowing that I have saved my friend."
Again, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, she's like bleeding out and like falling over on the ground. And Fionn comes in and is like, "Where's Rose?" And they're like, "She's fine." Oh shit. Like, they have no idea that it's happening at all. And it makes me feel bad for Rose that like no one is looking out for her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess we know, though, why she gets to stay with Fionn now.
Right.
Instead of going back to the circus.
Right, which I'm assuming she is still planning on going back to the circus, and that's
that
part of.
motherfucker was just going to let her leave.
mean,
I'm kind of mad at him. Right now.
I'm ready to know a little bit more about like what's going on
too.
between the two of them and like what their private life is like together as she's staying at his house and they fight all the time, but obviously like they love each other. It's really weird. So it breaks my heart that her person isn't there physically and doesn't seem to be there like emotionally to like be ready to be honest with her. I don't I'm ready to hear more about that. But the epilogue to me, like that whole her POV, it really read to me that she was totally fine to just like die.
Yeah.
Knowing like I'm going to bleed out right now and it's fine. Like, I don't know if she was purposefully not being like, help me, or if she was like too weakened or what the deal was with that. But
that was very sad.
I was envisioning her like laying on the ground just reaching for them.
But I don't think she even did that.
She was. Like her inner monologue was more like, I told Fionn how I felt.
I saved Lark.
What
else can I do? Yeah. I don't know. That makes me sad.
It was very sad.
It makes me feel like she feels super hopeless.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like alone, and she doesn't have anybody.
I can die or go back to the life that wasn't really doing it for me.
Right. Exactly. So it broke my heart a little bit for her. And that was my least favorite moment. Seeing that POV and just feeling like she was fine to just like die and not try to be like, help me.
So your favorite was Leather and Lark. I keep calling him Leather. Leather and Lark reuniting, but then Yogi's favorite part was during that they're just letting Rose bleed out.
She's just like passing out and they don't notice. Yes. So what were your all's least favorite moments?
Yours, Deb?
Okay, so I mentioned already that I took a gummy when I was finishing this section of the book. And the part where Abe is standing outside the oven flashing the lights on and off with his like maniacal smile like creeped me the fuck out.
Yeah,
I'm like, I wasn't even high, and that creeped me out.
I read in the dark, and I was like looking like looking around the room. It was written so well. I could visually see it was like a horror movie in my head.
Yeah,
it was really, really cool, but it really creeped me out. And don't read that stoned.
Oh man, Mindy, what was your least favorite
first
moment?
of all, Abe hurt that dog, and he is a fucking monster. Like I definitely cried. Like because
we're fine that he almost burned Lark, but we're like, don't
hurt the dog. But really, like my least favorite moment, I was a little disappointed at how quickly the whole Abe thing just resolved. It was like we had this whole buildup. We had him like interspersed throughout. It's like this big thing about an eye for an eye, and it's like all this stuff, and then it sort of fizzled out, and it almost seemed unnecessary a little bit. I mean, I know it needed to happen, obviously, but so I kind of was thinking about that whole eye for an eye, and that comes from the Bible, but it's actually a much older rule, so to speak. And I found out some really interesting things. So for starters, the Bible verse, there's a couple that it comes from. It's in Exodus 21:23 through 25. It says, "But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe." Mm-hmm. So that obviously is one major place where Abe pulled that from. And then also in Leviticus 24:17 through 22, "If anyone injures his neighbor as he has done, it shall be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Whatever injury he has given a person shall be given to him." I feel like that's the one that most people quote or like remember. But this whole eye for an eye concept in the Old Testament, it was used more as a guide for judges and legislators and not as a motive for personal vengeance, which is how Abe took it.
Right.
He kind of went the next step with it.
So the judges would be like, okay, you stabbed someone, so now you're going to get stabbed. Is that what you mean?
Well, they would be like, okay, well, what's an appropriate punishment for somebody who got stabbed, right? Like, you're not going to say, I mean, this did happen though. Like, you're not going to be like, well, you stole money, so you get to be stabbed. It's not an equal,
right.
It's not an equal punishment. So it's supposed to be a guide for like things need to be
punishment
comparable.
Fits the crime.
Yeah. So this phrase though actually originated in the Mesopotamian Empire under the Babylonian king Hammurabi. It's called the Code of Hammurabi. He claimed that the gods gave him these rules to, quote, prevent the strong from oppressing the weak. The laws are written on a large stone slab that is actually currently housed in the Louvre Museum. So this is where it gets really interesting. The legal areas of this code, and there's some examples, and I'll kind of highlight. I'll give you the like highlights, hopefully, because there's a lot in there. But false charges or false testimony is one section. And like one of the things that it talks about is if a man accuses another of homicide, but can't show proof of that, then the guy who accused him gets to be killed.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
So if you falsely
They were
accuse
hardcore back in
somebody
Babylonia.
of murder, then
Yes.
you can get murdered.
So if I said, Whitney, you murdered somebody, but I can't prove it,
then you get
then I
killed.
get killed. Yeah.
But what if she actually murdered someone?
But I couldn't prove it. Yeah.
Talk about
So-
reasonable doubt, I guess. Dang.
So, and really, honestly, as you go through these, there's a lot of basis for our current laws. Like you can really
Yeah.
kind of see that. The second area talks about stolen property, kidnapping, breaking and entering, and burglary. So if a man breaks into a house, you are actually supposed to kill him. So if someone breaks into your house, that's what you do. You kill him. You don't try to talk him down.
Well, I
That
thought someone was in my
sounds-
house once, and I picked up a big Harry Potter book to like slap him across the face.
Same difference.
Yeah, right.
Next, we have commerce, loans, and trading. And one of the examples for that is if a merchant gives silver to a trading agent for investment purposes. So he's going to make an investment. But the trading agent suffers a loss. The trading agent has to pay back the original sum. So that's like the precursor to interest, right?
Right.
Like, we didn't do what we were supposed to do. So we're going to have to pay you back. Let's see here. The next one would be marriage, family, and property. This includes the definition of a, quote, married woman, maintenance of sick wives, maintenance, I love that, maintenance of our sick wives, disinheritance of sons, adoption and nursing of infants, murder of husbands, and remarriage of widows. So there's all kinds of stuff going on there. I didn't actually write down an example because there was a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I just thought that was very interesting that we're talking about the maintenance of our sick wives when it's the husbands that are like, oh, I'm got a cold.
I got the man flu.
So next is agriculture, which was a big deal back then. That dealt with the hiring of laborers and theft of animals, including a whole entire section on oxen.
Oh.
So here's an interesting example from there. If an ox gores to death a man while it is passing through the streets, that case has no basis for a claim.
Oh.
So if your ox is just walking out in the street and he gores a man, then too bad, so sad. But if he comes on your property and he does it, then
Kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him.
It's so weird.
Whitney looks so perturbed right now.
I'm just like, okay. Maybe, well, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. I
Just
don't know.
don't get gored, I guess.
Yeah. Stay away from oxen, people.
I do. I live by that.
I try to make it a point to stay away from oxen.
Buffalo, boar. Really, I stay away with anything with the tusk.
I've said it for years.
She sold us that oxen anti-spray. It really works.
Next, we come to this one's a real downer: slaves.
Oh, great.
It's more worse than oxen. Yeah. So slaves, which includes warranties on sales of slaves, purchase of slaves abroad, and denial of mastership. And I thought this was really strange. If a slave denies that someone is his master, that master has to show proof of ownership. But when he does that, when he proves that he owns the slave, he's allowed to cut off the slave's ear.
Oh.
So I'm not really sure how that punishment fit the
dishonor,
crime,
like dishonor
I guess,
to your
but,
house.
yeah,
I'd bite my thumb
I
at
feel
you,
like,
sir.
I feel like you would cut off his tongue because he's denying. I don't know.
But then you can't see that easily. The ear is like very outward.
That is true.
And you,
That
like
is true.
everybody sees like you did something.
No, thank you.
They
And
say I
then-
did something bad.
That is what she was singing about.
Yes, exactly.
So finally, we get to the section on assault, and that's where it actually says, if a man should blind the eye of another, they shall blind his eye. So that's where this all started from, right?
Yeah.
And it's become this
Hammurabi, man.
huge thing. Yeah, let's go Hammurabi. But here's some other.
Let's go,
Let's go.
Hammurabi.
Title of the
Let's go
episode.
Hammurabi. Interesting facts, though, about this code. So it's often cited as the oldest written laws on record, but it's actually not. It's actually predated by at least two other ancient codes of conduct from the Middle East. The Sumerian Code of Lipit Ishtar, and then another one created by another Sumerian ruler named Ur-Nammu.
Oh, that's my favorite Sumerian ruler.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just in a silly, goofy mood.
You're a silly goose.
So as if an eye for an eye wasn't a gruesome enough punishment, there are some other gruesome punishments outlined in
Ooh.
the code.
Does anybody get their dick cut off?
I'm sure they probably
Whitney.
did,
Frank and Wiener.
but there's some other.
What the fuck is wrong with you tonight?
It's the spicy vodka.
The spicy vodka makes her spicy.
Is there castration? Is there a wiener gets reattached? That's my favorite.
If not, I don't want it. Sorry.
Well, it's sad because this, like, a lot of the stuff is a real downer. So I hope I don't like keep it coming. Keep going. Keep it coming, Whitney.
I'll keep it light.
Keep
and
it light and fresh for us. If a son and a mother commit incest, they were burned to death.
That's
You
not
could
bad.
just not fuck your son.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you in that situation.
If a pair of scheming lovers plan to murder their spouses,
Ooh.
as one does, they would be impaled.
I think she already was.
Oh man.
She was definitely already getting impaled. Maybe not publicly, though. So this one's the sort of goes with the eye for an eye. If a son hits his father, his hands would be hacked off. And that was the wording, hacked off. And then finally, they would also do a trial by ordeal, which is proving innocence by facing a potentially deadly situation. That which reminded me of Feyre and her trials.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where...
They just threw him in a pit with a big old worm.
Yeah.
that's what they did. Or, gladiators and shit. I don't know.
I saw this TikTok. This is a total sidebar. I can't remember what clip it was, but it was a clip of some guy. It was like POV Reese talking about when he fell in love with Feyre. And it's like this guy saying there was shit on the walls. There was poop everywhere. Talking about, I want to say it was Michael Jackson actually talking about maybe like his pet monkey or something. But yeah, it made me laugh so hard. And I think I forgot to send it to you guys, which is a shame.
I
Because it
need
was
to
really
see it,
funny.
yes.
Anyway.
So here's where...
Anyway.
Here's where it gets really... We're going to be pissed off. I'm just going to tell you. I was very pissed off when I read this. So not surprisingly, the severity of punishment varies according to social class and gender. For example, if a man killed a pregnant maidservant, he was punished with just a monetary fine.
Oh, well, as
But
you do.
if he killed a, quote, freeborn or higher class pregnant woman, then his own daughter would be killed as retribution. Not the man.
Gosh.
Not the man doing the killing. Right. Yeah.
This is where Frankenweenie would really come into play.
Yes.
Yeah. Dang.
So anyway, that just really pissed me off. But so
That just
to bring it back up a little bit, it
doesn't
wasn't all
punish
bad
anybody.
though. The code did establish a minimum wage for workers.
Well, hey.
And it introduced the doctrine of innocent until proven guilty.
Can that
That's
code
good.
make
Yeah.
minimum wage a livable wage?
I know, right?
I don't know, it probably wasn't back then either.
Right,
That's
right.
true. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's like I got
So-
this dirt clod, but it's
So
not
at
gonna,
least we're not,
help me.
I want to say at least we're not living by the Code of Hammurabi, but I kind of fear that we are.
Oh, man. Well, that was a bummer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lindy. But we had fun while
If
we
I'm
went
going to
through
be depressed this week, so is everybody else.
I'm going to bring you all down with me. Well, thank you so much for teaching us things.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That's your history lesson.
Well, hey, we're going to talk about Revelations now.
These aren't depressing.
Please not the Bible.
No.
Okay, because that's real depressing too.
That could be a whole special episode.
So my husband, who talk about sidebars, who was a preacher's kid, just like Whitney, we were talking about. We said something about the Book of Revelation, and I admitted to him I went to a Pentecostal church, and if anyone knows what that is, it is very, very, very not progressive, and honestly, quite a scary religion.
Yeah.
But I remember I was so scared by the Book of Revelation that I would pray every night that the rapture wouldn't happen because I was so terrified.
I'm sorry.
Also, that I would not get kidnapped by aliens. That's my personality in a nutshell. But my sweet, sweet husband, he would pray that. What did he say? That the Lord was preparing his wife for him.
Aww.
And I was like, well, he didn't do a good job.
The jury's still out.
That's the most preacher kid thing I've ever
Yeah.
heard.
Absolutely.
That's really
Whereas
sweet.
I'm raised Pentecostal, and I'm like, please, for the love of God, don't come back, Jesus.
I haven't lived
I
yet.
was terrified. But then also that's when X-Files was huge. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what if I get abducted?
I'm either going to get abducted by Jesus or by aliens.
I did not want to leave the planet.
Yeah, no.
Just keep
She was
me on.
happy where she was.
Whereas Lachlan would be like, you got any of those anal probes?
He would be totally all about it. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about our biggest revelation, not the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Dear
Yes.
God.
Well, my biggest revelation was Rose, because I did not remember from reading this the first time. Rose pulls out a giant knife from underneath her shirt. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I had to read it again. I did not catch that the first time I read
She
this
was
at
full
all.
of surprises in
Yes.
this section.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert, she's my chapter MVP.
She's
but-
mine too.
I mean, she pulls out, and it says it's like a huge hunting
machete.
knife. Yes.
Yeah.
From a hidden sheath under her shirt. And I was like, have you
Damn,
had that
girl.
in like every
I
single
thought it was
scene?
under her skirt.
I
Not
think
that it matters.
I think it was shirt.
Because that's even more remarkable if she was hiding it under her shirt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was her shirt, but I'll try to look it up while you guys talk about your biggest revelations.
Is that what you, is that, are you
that
done?
it?
That's it. That was my biggest
What was
revelation.
yours, Mindy?
I had a few. I did not remember that Rose actually professed her love to Fionn in this book. I don't know why.
I don't remember anything of this last part, to be honest.
I really don't either. And then I realized that we are going to get some overlap in Scythe and Sparrow, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
But the one thing that hit me was a connection I made. It might just be a coincidence, but I don't think so. He talks specifically that Abe was wearing a Carhartt hat and
Yeah.
his brother Harvey wore Carhartt boots.
Yeah,
So Carhartt seems to be the brand for psychos who kill people. Yeah. So,
that's interesting.
Or
Yeah.
rednecks.
so
Although it's gotten very popular. It used to be not rednecks, I'm sorry. It was a farming equipment
Yes.
type of company.
Yeah.
Yeah. To keep you warm while you're, toiling on the land.
I clocked that too, because that was the logo on Sloane's face.
right from the boots.
Yeah.
And that's why I
It
thought
was memorable.
I was like, why would you put that in there? Like, clearly that was like that connection.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
It felt like an Easter egg
Yes.
from book one.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was good. It was her shirt. I double checked.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
That's even more impressive. So my biggest revelation was that Lachlan cut out Dr. Lewis Campbell's heart and encased it in resin as a
Yeah.
gift for Lark.
I loved that.
Wrapped in gold. It's weirdly really sweet.
I was just about to say that exact sentence.
But
Yeah, it is
he
weirdly
had to
sweet.
carve that guy's heart out. Because I think probably when you're reading this, you're like picturing like a little paper mache like heart in there. Nope, it was an anatomical fucking heart.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what he was doing when he was reading, was helping her fall asleep.
right.
So,
Yes.
because I remember saying, what's he doing with all that fucking gold
Working
wire?
with the gold wire. Yeah. He
Yeah.
was making a trophy, which
out
again,
of a guy's heart.
Bryn
Still
Weaver
sweet.
taking something so weird and making it like, aw.
and making it romantic.
I'm like, smacking Robbie. Like, how come you don't ever cut anybody's heart out for me? That's real romance.
I can see Robbie being like, well, like, do you want that?
Look, Darren would probably cut the heart out, but he would never in a million years make a fucking craft out of it.
Brian would start cutting the heart out and be like, so like, do you want to finish this?
Do you really want me to do this?
I think you're more into this than I am, but I'll support you, babe.
I used to be on a scrapbook design team a long time ago for a scrapbooking kit, and we all decided one time that we were going to give a kit to our husbands and have them make a scrapbook page out of it. My husband was the only one that didn't do it.
Oh,
I was
what
like,
a
"You
turd.
suck."
What a
Yeah,
dick.
I was really mad.
Shout out to Darren.
I'm gonna suggest
Shout out to I'm gonna
once
shove it up your
again.
ass.
I think you should make a cross stitch design of his face that also says "Topple the patriarchy."
Or eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah, that too.
or a nutcracker with his face on it, because I've decided the nutcracker is the symbol of smash the patriarchy. I'm gonna get
Oh,
tattoos.
because they crunch nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, do a cutout of his face and
Yeah,
just put it
stick
on
it
one
on
of
a
your
nutcracker.
on your
Yeah, I like
nutcrackers.
it.
I know someone
Or
who can draw that for you.
put his face in the nut cracking part of the nutcracker.
Even better.
Oh man. Well, speaking of nuts, let's talk about our favorite spicy scene. You like that transition? I think it will surprise no one that has listened to any episode of this podcast that I didn't love the actual spice in this section of the book.
Shocker. Because it was butt
It was
stuff.
all butt stuff.
butt stuff.
Yeah. But I will say that I really did. This is a sweet moment as opposed to a spicy moment. But I really enjoyed the Lachlan giving Lark the choice of like, we can divorce, we can stay married, like whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But I want you to choose what you actually want. I thought that was really nice. And I was kind of upset with her for like making such a big deal about it because he obviously came from a really sweet place.
Motherfucker, you're not divorcing me.
Well, I think it's the way he presented it to her, though.
Well,
he like presents
that's
her with divorce papers,
just divorce papers.
Like, I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
say, hey, by the way,
Yeah. I can get down with that, I
think
guess.
that's what
But
pissed her off.
I'm like, okay, think about his motivation here. He's not like wanting to, he clearly did not want to divorce you and you're like forcing him to stay married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
it takes
I
a
like
lot of
him.
effort to get divorce papers drawn up, though. He could have just like not done that.
That's
Yeah.
true. It probably wasn't that hard for him though, because he has weird.
contacts.
Yeah.
Leander just has a divorce.
I
memo
mean,
in his
right?
office.
I
Probably
feel like
does.
he probably could have
Leander's
just.
over there with his like notary stamp.
It's like yes, it's like in a Google Doc, and you just
yeah.
print it out or something. You know, like
That's true.
But anyway, that was my favorite sweet.
Did
scene.
you like the butt stuff?
I liked the edging in the shower
Ooh,
because I
yeah.
thought it was hot and funny. Like, because she kept saying she was up to something, and I was
Right.
like, but now she's giving him head, and then she's like,
Yeah.
you don't get to do this, poor guy. But really, my favorite spicy scene was seeing that Lachlan had tattooed a gold star on
Yeah,
his
I
ring.
love
Yeah, that was
That
sweet.
did
Love
something
that.
for my nether regions. I really like that.
That's sweet. I love a tattoo on a wedding ring, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
wedding ring finger.
too.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
We'll get Robbie to do that right away, I'm sure.
That'll be the day. That will be the day.
The sweet boy can't handle the sight of blood or shots.
No, he would for real pass out.
Yeah.
He also just doesn't like tattoos. He's like 150 years old at heart sometimes. He really is.
Well, Darren was in the Navy and he doesn't like tattoos.
That's odd.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he likes my tattoos, but he
Mindy,
doesn't want to get
Mindy
any.
and I
Right.
are making up for all three of our
Yep.
spouses.
Yep.
Mindy, what was your favorite
So
spicy
mine
scene?
was actually after the butt stuff when Lark wraps her arms around Lachlan and puts her cheek to his back, and then he puts his hand on hers, and they just kind of like revel in their closeness together.
Yeah.
I
I could
really
have at
love
least
that.
pulled out first, though, because all I was thinking when that happened is that she was pushing deeper in there.
That's why he
that
did it.
to me like tracks for them, right?
Yeah.
Like they had the sweet moment, but it was still a little naughty.
Yeah. That's funny.
Here,
I didn't think
let me
about
try
it.
to hit your throat with this.
I didn't think about it like going in more. That's funny. Well, I already spoiled who my chapter MVP was. It was Rose because she did all the things. Like she's the reason that we saved Lark. She stayed calm under pressure. She got Lachlan to basically like snap out of it because he was freaking out, completely losing it. She's the one that discovers the map in the weird stalker apartment to figure out where Lark probably was. And then she comes in and kills Abe to give Lachlan the chance to rescue Lark. And she's also the one, I think, to call Sloane and Rowan when she hears Abe say that there's a bomb in their
Yes.
car and saves them too,
Yeah.
right?
She's also the one that points out that he probably was watching them. So, like, where could he be watching you from? She also
Yep.
picks the lock of
Yes.
Abe's
Gets them in there. Yeah.
apartment, right? She also figures out that Harvey Mead is Abe's brother.
Yep.
And, like, she does it all.
She does
Yeah.
all the work.
She
She
does
does all the heavy lifting.
everything,
Yeah.
which it struck me, and I don't think I've thought about this before the second reading, but Rose is the hero of book 2. Sloane is the hero of book 1. So I'm expecting Lark to be the hero of book 3 to finish out the
that'd be
trifecta
fun.
of
Yeah,
our
that would be fun.
our women
Yeah.
being the heroes,
Yeah.
right?
But Lark has already saved Sloane, if you think about it.
That's true, but we didn't really get to see that.
Yeah.
Like we have Sloane and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how that goes. If there will be like a true trifecta or something else will happen
Yeah.
with Rose's
That'd be cool.
Rose and Beyond story. But
cool.
yeah, Rose was my MVP because she did literally everything. So.
Did.
She was mine too for the same reasons, but also we find out that in the circus she rides a motorcycle in a metal cage, which I think is so cool.
I totally skipped
You missed
over
that?
that.
Oh, you did?
I
Yeah.
completely
She was
missed
talking
that.
about how she couldn't figure out if she was up or down, so she just like throttled it and kept going.
Oh, I guess I got just too
I think
distracted
it's
by
when
the
she was
knife
in her
in her
head
shirt.
when she was dying. Was that what she was?
Oh, I
when
don't
it
know.
was. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I was really confused during that part.
Was Rose your MVP too?
Yep.
Yeah. What about favorite secondary character?
Mine was Harvey Mead
Ooh,
because he's really the catalyst for the entire book.
that's true.
So, who do you think is more insane, Harvey or Abe?
Abe,
Why?
because he's convinced himself that he's not.
Interesting. At least Harvey knew what he was kind of doing. Like
I assume so,
Abe's
yeah.
doing the Lord's work, and
Yes.
Harvey's
I don't know.
like,
I feel like Harvey, to me, is very demented.
He does have the mom, the mummified skeleton mommy.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's a whole other
of course,
level.
we don't know. We don't know that Abe didn't. That wasn't Abe's doing too.
Well, that's true.
But also, like that, like what did their parents do to them? Shit.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah,
And you
Fucked
got to
them up is
wonder
what
if
they
it
did.
was retaliation that he kept her mummified in the house.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love a novella of that family. Of like,
I don't want to
what-
read that. Not one single bit,
What's
babe.
going on?
Maybe just like a Wikipedia entry.
Yeah. What about you, Mindy?
Mine was Bentley.
Oh,
Because he was trying to protect Lark and he got hurt in the process. But did you catch later that when Abe was talking to Lark, he says something about how loyal her dog was? It reminded me of your story about the Akita.
yes, I know. He would go to the train station every
He
day
would.
for Lark.
He would.
That made me cry. Shit.
I know, right? Well, my favorite secondary character was the gold star tattoo on Lachlan's ring finger because I do love a tattooed wedding ring, and I just think it's sweet. And I love when when anybody in real life or a character does something so permanent like that, because you can just like take your ring off, right? Like it's a permanent thing, but not really. I really like the significance and the sentimentality of that.
I posted an Instagram reel today about men wearing eyeliner, and I can't tell you the number of people that commented. They're like, I think I'm actually kind of into that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah. Well, and I liked too this whole Lachlan's tattoo where it seems very clear to me that he got the gold star tattoo to appease Lark, like because he knows he's going to take his ring off when he works for safety and like because he doesn't want to lose it in the ocean. Like that's valid.
I
And he's
forgot
like,
about that. She's like pegging him, and she's like, "Motherfucker, don't take off that ring."
yeah, he's like, but that's why I got the tattoo. He's like, I tried to stay a step ahead and it still wasn't good enough. That made me laugh a lot. I enjoyed that. But what has been your favorite quote in these chapters?
How about you, Whit?
Well, I have like 3. So I did already say one, which was the one that Lachlan says about Lark being his person and how he can't do anything, can't do life without her. I thought that was really sweet. And I really, really loved this quote from these 2 quotes from Lark. One where she is looking in the mirror and looking like, thinking I look like a mess. And she says, I'm in pain and I look like I'm hurting. I'm in love and I look like I'm living. And I just thought that was a really beautiful
was one of
quote
my
about
favorite ones,
like
too.
being perceived, right? Like it doesn't matter if I look good, bad, whatever.
It's very
like
philosophical.
yes, like this is life and that's what it
Yeah.
looks like. I thought I really loved that. And I loved too when Lark says to Abe, you can cherry pick the Bible all you want, but I still know what kind of man you are. And I'm like,
Damn.
as a preacher's kid who currently leads Bible studies for people, like I felt that deeply.
Yeah.
Just because you read the Bible doesn't mean you're a good person.
Yep. Just because you can say the Bible doesn't mean
Right.
you're a good person.
So one of mine was also the more philosophical one. And then right before that, Lark says, hear that, you scheming hellraiser? I'm in love with Lachlan Kane, like talking to Annie
Ethel,
Ethel.
yeah, I thought
which
that
I
was
really
sweet.
loved. The little hellraiser.
yeah.
Mine was similar when she's talking to Bentley. She says, I'm in love with my husband, Bentley. I guess that means we have to keep him.
Yeah. I thought that was
I
sweet
thought that was
too.
sweet too. And then I love the moment where Lachlan tells Lark to like never do that to him again when she comes out of the batch oven. And she answers with, get kidnapped by a psychopath? I'm not planning on any do-overs, Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I will
Like she's
not be
still
doing this
joking
again.
with him, right? After she's been almost like cooked.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up because
Cooking people?
yeah, because that was actually my deep dive because I had a really hard time
Picturing what the big
yes,
batch oven
like
was, yeah.
what isn't it like what is that? So this is going to be the most interesting deep dive. I'm just kidding, but it is going to help. Well, it helped me understand a little bit more because I had a hard time with like the stakes of that scene because I didn't understand like what was happening. You know what I mean?
Like I literally pictured she was in this big dome and it was just hot. Like it was like a giant sauna.
I pictured a
Yeah.
walk-in kiln almost.
That sounds like it probably is probably what it was. It probably is probably what it was. I just said the same word twice. And then I said it again just for fun.
Keep going.
Let's say it a third time. No, so this is like especially nerdy, but I had a hard time picturing and I don't really know what industrial batch ovens are. So I had a hard time with like, okay, hot. You know what I mean? Like, what else? What's going on? So here we go. So ovens in general, did you know? I thought this was just an interesting little fun fact. The earliest ovens were found in Central Europe and date back to 29,000 BC.
What?
29,000 BC. That was a long time ago.
I guess they had to cook meat.
I know, right? And so they were basically like roasting and boiling pits inside yurts used to cook mammoth.
Yum.
Yeah. I was like, well, alrighty then. So
don't get gored by one of those.
Yeah. No one, there will be no punishment.
There will be no punishment.
Batch ovens are also called cabinet ovens or walk-in or truck-in ovens. Okay. Those allow for curing, drying, or baking in small batches using wheeled racks, carts, or trucks. So ovens like this are often found in large volume bakeries, like in a supermarket, to make all their baked goods. So I know what you're thinking, Whitney. What's the difference between a walk-in oven and a truck-in oven?
I was just thinking that.
I'm glad you asked.
Read my mind.
Yeah. So a walk-in oven and a truck-in oven are both large industrial ovens, but the key difference is that a walk-in oven is large enough for people to walk in. I literally looked this up.
Put a truck in?
Then you back a truck into it?
The walk-in oven large enough for people to walk inside to load and unload items, while a truck-in oven is designed specifically for loading and unloading with a cart, which they call a truck. So if you're dumb like me, you're like a Ford F-150.
I was thinking like a big semi, and they back up and they unload everything.
I don't think that's what they meant. No. Although, maybe it is, and a listener will be like, actually, you were right, you dum-dum.
Truck-in oven is the name of my sex tape.
So you would drive the cart into the oven using a forklift or similar equipment. So basically a truck-in oven is like a walk-in oven, but it's bigger. Which is like
Thank you.
overly simplified. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. So industrial batch oven configurations include, are you ready for this list?
I'm so on the edge of my seat.
They can be used in laboratory, cabinet, pit, walk-in, car bottom, which sounds
Also
like the name of my sex tape. Top load, elevator, and drop bottom.
I'm sorry, top load is the name of your sex tape.
Oh, and they're available in hundreds of sizes, which is stupid. That's too many options. Batch ovens can be heated by direct gas or indirect gas ? Which just makes me giggle. Indirect gas feels like a fart joke. You know what I mean? Anyway, it can be powered electrically or by steam. So this is where I was really like, okay, what were the stakes here? So standard temperatures are available for industrial batch ovens are available up to 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn.
Which is really freaking hot. Yeah. So custom batch ovens can be designed around whatever the customer's specific process requirements, like whatever they're using the oven for. So now I know what you're thinking. 1,400 degrees, that's really freaking hot. But really, how hot is it? I'm glad you asked.
How hot is it?
I'm glad you asked. So this is actually a little bit higher. 1,400 is a little bit higher than the temperature that you need to turn human bone into ash. Which is about 1,200 degrees.
So probably not what they're using to bake muffins.
Well, I mean, they probably are using it to bake muffins, but
not
turn
at 1,400.
Well, you don't have to use it at 1,400
okay.
the whole time.
Okay.
That's the range, right?
Gotcha.
So, they'll turn it up really high when they're getting rid of somebody, right?
Right.
Which is what Lark has been.
Why do you need an oven that hot?
That's what Lark has been saying. Like, they're going to put you in the batch oven.
Ovens,
That's what she's been talking about this whole time. So you need about 1,200 degrees to turn human bone into ash, which is also about the same temperature that you need to melt human skin. Ugh. So just for funsies, to finish this out, here are some things that you can melt up to 1,400 degrees. But this really did help me, this is why this was so bad and dangerous for our sweet little Lark. So
I just figured it was because she was in an oven. That was pretty dangerous.
I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I lied, actually. I'm not going to tell you things that you can melt. I'm going to tell you what can happen to the human body, up to certain degrees. Oh, okay. I started to look for things that you could melt, and then it was not that many things.
Like everything.
It was like aluminum and like human skin, but like other cooler stuff. It was like not even remotely hot enough to do that. And I was like, oh, okay, well never mind. Yeah, never mind. But human skin can melt, so I guess that's cool. So this is information that I found with regards to water temperatures, which was on a website that's like, don't make your baby's bathwater too hot, which was really kind of a bummer.
Don't let it go to 1400 degrees.
Think about the air around you in an oven. The air is going to be this temperature, which kind of is the same thing as being immersed in hot water, right? Okay. So at 111 degrees, this is all Fahrenheit, 111 degrees is when your skin starts to register pain from heat. 118 degrees is when you can have first degree burns. 131 degrees is second degree burn. 140 degrees is scalding injuries within 5 seconds of contact at 140 degrees. 155 degrees, you can have scalding injuries within 1 second of contact. So imagine like the oven, the air heating up around you. You're getting like third degree burns like instantaneously all over your entire body, right? And your clothes are burning up as well. So you're getting like extra burns from the fire from your clothes and not just the heat of the
burns.
Right? You know what I mean?
I'm going to have nightmares.
Well, here's the last one. And this is what we're going to finish out with, friends. Heat stroke occurs when your core body temperature reaches 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. So if the air around you is getting up to like 150 degrees all the way up to 1400 degrees, your body core temperature is going to go 104
so
like in a second.
Stroke before you melt.
Exactly. Yes. And
that's a nice victory at least.
Well, and that's a life-threatening condition that can cause permanent damage to your brain and other vital organs if not treated immediately. So I would like Bryn Weaver to let us know exactly how hot the oven got to before they were able to open the door.
They were preheating it, so it hadn't gotten very hot yet.
Well, but like my oven at my house doesn't take very long to get to 111 degrees.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, she should have had some kind of injury.
Maybe because it's bigger, it takes longer to heat up.
Maybe. I don't know, but
I'm going with that.
That did help me to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that was scary. I was having a hard time of like, I mean, all right, you're in a room. There's a weirdo, but he's at least like outside the room. You know what I mean? I just had a hard time with it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Was my own fault for not being a smart reader and not.
But you learned a lot about truck-in ovens and walk-in ovens.
Well, and like, what is at the bottom?
I feel pretty confident we can start our own muffin business now.
Oh yeah,
I want to do drugged muffins.
I could be a batch oven salesman. I feel like I would do a really good job.
And here is our bottom down model.
Yeah, the car bottom or whatever it was. So anyway, that was a question that I had that I needed to be resolved, and I did it, and I'm proud of myself. What about you guys?
I want to know why Fionn doesn't want to come to Christmas.
Yeah, I assumed. Well, number one, I assumed that book 3 is going to tell us that, but I assumed that at that point, Rose is healed up and still leaves to go to the circus,
he's heartbroken,
like she was going to before.
I hope not.
But I want to know what happened to cause the heartbreak. Like, I want to know which is why I know that we're going to get some crossover. Like, the Scythe and Sparrow will like sort of overlap what we've been reading.
Just like Leather and Lark did with Butcher and Blackbird, right? Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just really want to know what went down there.
Yeah. Who went down there?
He might have gone down, but like maybe stopped going down.
Yeah.
That's why she'd rather die.
Yeah. Are there any other questions or tidbits or anything before we go into our fan cast?
I just want to know why Rose had to stay with Fionn when she was hurt in the first place.
Yeah, when we first meet her in book 1.
Yeah, like what sort of made that happen?
Right. And then I'm assuming
was it his fault?
Maybe.
I really hope he went to the circus.
Yeah.
And like was in the right place at the right time or something.
Crochet group.
Right. Yeah. Like some really weird, like, why are you here? What is going on? That feels like something Fionn would do. Yeah. My man Fionn. Anything else before our fan cast? I'm excited about the fan cast.
I am too.
Well, let's get into it. So we're going to fan cast Lachlan and Lark, Leander, Auntie Ethel, Abe, and Lachlan's right-hand man, Colin. So let's start with Lachlan. Who did you guys fan cast?
I picked this guy before, I think, for somebody else. But I picked Avon Yogia.
That is not a good picture.
You don't think so? I think he looks so
He
intense.
looks like a Unabomber.
The reason I picked
That's
it
the
is because he has
glasses.
the glasses on.
Yeah.
And I did, but like there are some definitely sexier pictures of him, but I picked that one because of the glasses. It's the only one I could find with glasses on. Because that's how I picture him, with that like longish, dark, like crazy hair, but with the glasses and a little bit of a beard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he looks decent in that picture.
Different strokes for different folks.
He looks like he's going to peg you without asking.
No.
No. So mine is going off the voice of the audiobook and not necessarily the description, but my Lachlan has always been Stuart Mackey, who's on Instagram.
yeah.
He's an Irish guy, and he's like really, really sweet. Not brooding at all, but that's just who I picture. And he cosplays as Lucian all the time from Akatar.
He does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he seems really fun.
He does, yeah. Well, I picked Tom Ellis from the show Lucifer.
Really? Yeah, that's a good one.
Because what I did was I Googled actors that look like Colin O'Donoghue, who is who I picked for Rowan in book one. And I found him. I was like, oh, yeah. And he's also Welsh, which is not Irish.
But close.
Yeah.
It's Irish adjacent.
Adjacent. Yeah. So I felt like, okay, well, he would do a good job. Cool. So that's my Lachlan. What about Lark? Who'd you guys pick? Mine, I picked Sarah Hyland as a blonde from Modern Family.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She actually is a singer. She is currently on stage in a production of Little Shop of Horrors, and she's really good.
Cool.
And I feel like she would do very well with the cutesy, like putting on a show for everybody, but also be good at being like shockingly devious. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she could sing for real. So I like her a lot. What about you guys?
I picked Kiernan Shipka.
Oh yeah.
And I totally forgot what she was in.
She
Mad
was
Men.
in. She was also
Sabrina.
in Sabrina.
Yes, that's what.
And Totally Killer.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. I don't know. She just has, again, that sort of like I can play the like cute, fun, like always happy, but then really get into sort of the serious side of it.
Yeah, the dark too. Yeah.
I picked mine based off how innocent she looks, and it was Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah.
I can see that
long
too.
blonde hair.
Yeah, she would be really good.
She looks literally like a Barbie, much like Lark is compared all the time.
All the time. Yeah. What about Leander?
I picked Michael McShane. He is the therapist from Office Space with the bad toupee that dies. He has he sweats a lot, and he seems kind of creepy, and he's got that hair, and that's who I pictured
That's
the
funny.
entire time.
That is really funny. I went in a very different direction.
Where'd you go? I did too. But
Well, I tried to find the description of Leander, and there really isn't. No. It's silver hair and green eyes, and that's it. And I picture somebody who is like really good looking, but has like a dark edge to them because he's super rich and successful. And I just imagine that an
uglies
attractive,
can't be rich. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like attractive people
I'm just messing with you.
fit that role better, right?
Yeah,
and so I picked Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Interesting.
Because he can be like a crazed bad guy, like in The Walking Dead, and he can also be really like sweet and endearing, and you can't help but like him, like in Supernatural and in Grey's Anatomy and a bunch of other stuff that he's done too. I also have Pierce Brosnan as a runner-up because I feel like he would be really good as like a silver fox with like a weird edge to him. But yeah, JDM.
I leaned heavily into the crazy, and so I picked Matthew Lillard.
Oh,
but like like aged up a little bit.
He would be really good at the crazy.
He always just seems really unhinged to me.
He would totally blend her up pizza and teeth.
Yeah,
100%. I can totally see that.
Yes.
That's a really good one.
That's a really good one.
You guys still need to watch Killer Cakes on Prime. He did such a good job with that show. It's only 3 episodes. It's really fun.
It's on the list. What about Auntie Ethel? Who did you guys pick?
We have the same person.
We picked
Mindy.
the same person I saw. Yeah, that's immediately who I thought of.
Ellen Albertini Dow. She's the grandma from The Wedding Singer.
Yeah, I thought about her, but I ultimately picked, in the same vein, I picked the late, great Betty White. I thought she would be so
Betty
good.
White at first, yeah.
She could, they're very similar.
Did you know that Ellen Albertini Dow, she just died in 2015, and she was 102.
Yeah, she was, she rocked it.
Yeah, good for her.
She's
just
so
like
fun.
our sweet, sweet Rose.
Yeah.
Or Ethel.
Ethel.
Well, Rose is on Golden Girls.
Oh,
Rose.
Betty
yes,
White
yes.
Rose. See, we thought Circus Girl Rose, and we were like, that's
sorry.
not right.
Really tired.
Yeah. What about Abe?
So you remember the priest that goes nuts in Constantine? Mm-hmm. That's Pruitt Taylor Vince. And that's who I picked the entire time.
I can see that.
Can't you see him touting scripture and like being all sweaty with his like southern like hanky?
Yeah,
being all sweaty. Now that is a character I picture as sweaty.
Abe was super sweaty one time.
Who'd you pick, Mindy?
I picked Crispin Glover.
Oh,
again,
yeah.
very unhinged.
Yeah,
and then
like
I always pictured Vincent D'Onofrio with the skin melting off in the that other movie for his brother. And
Men
I
in
thought
Black.
I thought that they would go together.
Crispin Glover is creepy AF.
He really is
100% is,
and
creepy.
he doesn't have to do anything.
No, he just like this picture
there.
I have him. It's just like a normal picture of him, but he looks like he's gonna like
murder you.
Gank you.
Shout out to Crispin.
He's a great actor. I went a very different. I was thinking the southern, and the cowboy hats or whatever. So I said Josh Brolin, but his character in No Country for Old Men. He was like the sheriff.
Not Deadpool Josh Brolin.
Yeah, no, not Deadpool Josh Brolin. But he is good at being like a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And he can be very menacing. But I feel like him now at his age, but as that character that he was in No Country for Old Men, which was like 20 years ago or something, because it was very like cowboy, Carhartt, cowboy hat, all that stuff. And then last but not least, who'd you guys pick for Colin, Lachlan's friend?
I actually had trouble with this one a little bit. I don't know why.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I picked somebody that I would have wanted to pick to be Lachlan if he fit the like physical description.
Okay.
But I picked Glenn Powell because I feel like he would be good at being like funny and like, because Colin is a pretty like personable, likable. He's comedic relief sort of for us in the book, and I feel like Glenn Powell is a good.
I always feel
fit
like
for
Glenn
that.
Powell looks old.
Yeah, he looks way older than he is, and he's younger
than me.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He
a
just
bullshit detector, and there is something weird about that guy. I don't know. He is not for me.
Who'd you pick for Colin?
Jensen Ackles.
Oh,
like the funny part of him is Dean Winchester, like super silly. Can't you see him like cutting up?
Yeah,
but then
that's a
he
good
can
one.
like still like dispose of a body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a really good one.
Well,
Who'd you end up picking, Mindy?
I always picture him as like way younger, and so I picked Tanner Buchanan. He played Robbie in Cobra Kai. He played the kid, like the homeless kid. And he's cute, but
I
he's
like him.
He looks like that kid that's gonna like prank you.
Yeah.
So
or get kicked out for fighting.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good one. This was a good
fun
fan
fan cast.
Yeah. I felt confident about my choices this time. Felt good. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before we finish up?
Nope.
Well, friends, that is it for Leather and Lark, and we're going into the holiday season. So next week, we're going to start releasing some nerdy rewinds of Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. We covered that book last year, and we hope you enjoy listening to those episodes again and rereading that book because it was great.
Yeah. And if you didn't read it, go read it, damn it.
Yeah. We'll be back with new episodes after the new year in 2025.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.